Aloha, friends and family. Can you feel your DNA being upgraded? Can you conceive that your two-strand DNA is being reassembled back into 12-strand DNA? And that these strands of DNA tie in with your chakra system and we will have 12 chakras. 7 thought of as inside the body, 5 thought of as outside the body. But we're talking about your multi-dimensional body, not so much your physical body. But your physical body is part of your multi-dimensional body. We could say that it's the focal point of the multi-dimensional self. How is this happening? As we open ourselves to more light, cosmic light from Source, this light comes down from above through the outermost chakras, down through all of the chakras, into the root chakra, down through the legs and into Earth's body. Which makes us like a great tree rooted deep into the earth. And this gives the earth a greater ability to resonate the higher frequencies. The more of us that are doing this, the more powerful it is, and the quicker the transition from 3 to 5D can take place. And with 12-strand DNA, we will be able to really tap into knowledge and information in a way that we have not been able to with 2-strand DNA. See, with 2-strand DNA, we're about as dumbed down as we could get without just being like a comatose, zombified human. Where the ego fully takes over the vessel, and humans sort of default to thinking that if they have a lot of data in their brain, or they've received a lot of education, or they've read a lot of books, that they're super intelligent. But true intelligence isn't compartmentalized to the brain of a human. Because when your 12-strand DNA is working, you're going to be able to pull data and information and wisdom and intelligence seemingly right out of thin air. Your intuition is going to be working at such a high level that you will instantly recognize when you're being bullshat with some human brainiac intelligence. Hey, Squirrely. And with 12-strand DNA operating, you would never fall for the religious dupe. You would never fall for the idea that all the truths of the universe have been put in one book. And if you will just believe the book, and if you will just recite the book, and if you will just go over the book so many times that it becomes automatic for you to repeat the book when speaking with someone. And you will block any and all information, data, and wisdom, knowledge that could be coming from all kinds of different places in this whole universe. And your connection to that is these chakras that tie in with your 12-strand DNA. So to simplify that, a 2-stranded DNA human is extremely dupable, extremely gullible, and is in a very dumbed down state of existence. So no wonder it has been an extremely challenging thing to awaken humanity. Because are the 2-stranded DNA humans moving back into 12-strand DNA? Is their DNA being repaired through this process? Through your willing it, through your wanting it, through your understanding it, through your seeing it? If in fact you are even to that point? Or is the poor two-stranded DNA human, damaging himself even more with, let us say, experimental shots. Could it be that the stuff being sprayed in your skies is meant to block these cosmic rays, this cosmic light that is the silver cord of connection to Source and all truth that lay between Source and where you are at this moment? And the silver cord is there regardless of what anybody does, what any human does. But that cord, just like the chakras, has to be activated, supercharged, illuminated. And so could they be attempting to prevent this with the spraying of your skies, with the fear-mongering to get you to take experimental shots where they could in fact be, well, we know they are. They've even said it themselves. There's something to do with DNA with all this. So they don't want you to become aware that you have the opportunity to begin to repair your DNA and get back to being a 12-stranded DNA human, where you are vastly more intelligent. Because again, you have access to so much more. Your intuition works so much sharper. Your spiritual abilities are so much closer. See, let us say you wanted to become a good archer, but you had no bow and arrow. So you could think about being a good archer. You could visualize yourself shooting the arrow and hitting the target. You could meditate on it. And all that stuff would be helpful and good, but nothing would be better than getting an actual bow and arrow and practicing becoming the archer that you envision yourself to be. And so with these chakras and this DNA activating, you now have the bow and arrow to become the archer. You now have A, B, C, D, E, F, G on down the line. Tools, literal, not literal in a human literal sense, but literal in a eternal sense. You literally have these tools available to you now. They're becoming available to us now. So that we can practice, so that we begin to practice, so that we begin to actualize. our desires, our thoughts, our wishes, our hopes, our dreams, our visions. They're all great and wonderful, but when do we actualize them? When does it go from being a great thought to actualized? And that's the difference of where we are right now. We're moving from you don't only have to think positively and hope and have faith. Only to have nothing happen, possibly. But being able to actualize, in other words, you're able to pick up that freaking bow and arrow and shoot and hit the target. You cannot do that without the bow. You can't. And that's not a negative thing toward any person. If you don't have a bow and arrow, you don't have a bow and arrow. How in the hell could you ever shoot an arrow and hit the bullseye if you did not possess the bow? So it's not like you were bad or wrong. You just didn't have a bow. We didn't have it. We could visualize it. We could hope for it. We could be faithful. We could think about it. We could meditate on it. But until you have access to that bow, and that's what I'm saying here with this, with the 12-stranded DNA put back into place, put back online, reactivated, it gives you direct access to your bow or whatever it is that you may actualize. Whatever it is, your vision, your dream, your desire. And the desires of the heart. Because you're not bound up and locked up and wrapped up in your lower chakras only. See, that's, again, 2-stranded DNA humans are living and existing in a very confined world of the first 2 or 3 chakras. Let us say 2-stranded DNA, 2 chakras. 12-stranded DNA, 12 chakras. Which one do you want? Which one's going to give you access to the tools you need to actualize, to manifest? Let's talk about eligibility for a second. We've already gone over that every person has a mirrored version of their lives in the spirit world. That's just automatic. It's automatically there. Now, which sphere it's in is another matter. So don't think of the spirit world as being like we think of this world. And we're wrong in our thinking, but that's the way we think. Have been thinking. We're changing it. But we think of this earth and this world. This is just one world. It's the same for everybody. It looks the same. It's got a consistency. And it does have a consistency, but it's not as solid as we think it is. But let's roll with that, our thinking, that we think this world is solid. Everybody's experiencing the exact same world, etc. So when we go to the spirit world, when we transition, you're going to go where you're eligible to go. If you've been living in two chakras or three, and you're still identifying as the mind-body complex, then you're identifying as your ego. You think that the ego is you. And so where would you be eligible to go when you pass? You'd be eligible to go to the first, second, or third sphere of the spirit world. Unless you were exceedingly evil and malicious, you probably would go to the third sphere. If you're exceedingly evil and malicious, you're going to go to the lowest sphere. And I'm sure there's a lot of humans that still think in terms of hell and heaven and all that. And so you would say that that is hell, because it would appear to be a hellish place. And it is a hellish place, but it's not hell, because there is no hell in the way that we were taught about heaven and hell. But I'm sure, everybody that's on my channel is at least going to enter into the fourth sphere, the heart chakra sphere, or higher. Where you have a home waiting for you. Where you have people that you've known here on earth that have passed before you. Where you may have a beloved pet friend that you had waiting for you. My dog Ratty just passed a few days ago. Had her for about 14 years. She was always next to me, always with me, my loyal, faithful companion. So I knew that she went to our home, again, that is mirrored in the spirit world. And I know it's a beautiful, wonderful, amazing place, because my home here on the earth plane is a beautiful, wonderful, amazing place. Because I'm in tune with nature. I'm in tune with plants. I set about to beautify the space. And see, everybody in the spirit world that's in the fourth chakra or higher, this is automatic to us there. This is automatic. And see, again, we're dealing with incorruptible. So again, your gardens there are perfect all the time. Your flowers are always in bloom. There is no winter. But what is the main criteria for eligibility for us to possess what is there in the spirit world waiting for us in potentiality? See, when I say waiting for us, you may think I'm meaning, well, it's automatic. When you die, you're going straight there. What makes us eligible to inhabit that? What's the main criteria? Somebody's probably thinking love. Love is the main criteria. That's very close, because love goes with what I'm about to say that is the main criteria, and that is service to other. But see, if you didn't have the love, you wouldn't have the service to other. See, love is the motivating, generating power that causes us to realize our purpose for existence is service to other. And I'm not going to even attempt to define what service to other would be, because there's a billion things, right? There's a billion ways we could be service to other. There's a billion ways we could show love to humanity. And again, understand that service to other is service to self once you realize that all is one. All is a wholeness. So to inject love into that wholeness, you're also injecting love into self, right? So if you want to be as eligible as you can be to inhabit and possess the great, wonderful, amazing things already waiting for you in the spirit world, that is a direct reflection of your life here, be as service to other as you can. Be as loving as you can. And cast out all fear. See, the misconception about the great day of judgment, where they set you up in a mental paradigm of you're going before some deity that's, the epitome of perfection, and it's going to look down at you, and it's going to examine your life, and it's going to flip through books and read your dirtiest deeds, and it's going to pull all the filthy skeletons out of your closet and expose them to the entire world, and you're going to feel like a real rat. But hopefully you skate by. And then if you got a Jesus card in your back pocket, you just pull that out and slap that down on the table, and then it's like, oh, yeah, he's in. He had the get into heaven free card. It's nothing like that. That's a completely false picture that they tried to paint for you. When you enter the spirit realm, you're going to see with the 12-strand DNA clarity, with every chakra fully illuminated, spinning at a very high rate. All right, and you're going to see yourself. You're going to see your human life for exactly what it was. And you will have no desire to lie to yourself at that point. See, humans here still try to get by with lying to themselves. They want to act like they don't see it, because it means admitting you were dead wrong about so much. And again, if you're identified as that ego, that hurts. That's uncomfortable, and humans don't like to be uncomfortable. Why not? Being uncomfortable gives you a wonderful window to change so that you're not uncomfortable anymore. But if you just suppress the discomfort deep down into yourself, it's not gone. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there. And if you think it's not having an effect, you don't understand your multidimensional self. So if you're only eligible for the third sphere, you're going to know that. And a deity didn't tell you you're only eligible for sphere 3 because of this, and this. No, you didn't even need that. See? Realize it. Understand it. You don't need a deity. Personage of God to treat you like a foolish child, because you will see with clarity, you will know, you will understand. If you end up in sphere 3, you will totally and completely be in agreement with that, because you will see why that is. Just exactly the same way as if you end up in sphere 4, the heart chakra sphere, where now we're dealing in the incorruptible world and above. See, from sphere 4 and above, you're dealing in the incorruptible world. There's still some corruption, even in the spirit world, in the lower 3 spheres, where people refuse still to see why they are where they are. That their thoughts created their reality. Their actions created their reality. And they're only eligible because of their stubbornness, because of their denial, because of their unwillingness. They're only eligible for one of the first 3 spheres. Now, you're not stuck there for eternity. You're only stuck anywhere until you come into agreement with the laws of reality, with the cosmic laws. And one of the first things we do is take responsibility for our lives and our co-creation. See, if you're still trying to place blame, if you're still saying it was the devil, if you're still trying to say it was my mom, if you're still trying to say, well, it was that thing that happened to me, and I'm a victim ever since, that's all got to stop. That's all got to change. And until it does, you are limiting your eligibility. And so that's the point I'm trying to emphasize in today's video. Make sure that you're eligible to inhabit and possess, and I don't really like that word, but that's what it means. If I give you $1 and you take it and you're holding it and it's now yours, you possess the dollar. So let's make sure that we don't, miss out on anything that the spirit world already has waiting for us, because we didn't become eligible, because we didn't understand that service to other is, let us say, love and service to other is the highest cosmic law that exists. And again, we do this now in this life. See, this life's preparation for that life. If we're breaking our reincarnation cycle and all that. And for whatever reason, I feel like there's a lot of people right now that are going into the spirit world, whether they're, again, ready for it or not. And we should be ready for it. And it's hard to be ready for it down here because the best thing that we're offered is some completely false religion that paints everything in a picture that is not right. It's not right. And if we've been programmed like that for lifetimes, or even just this lifetime, it's still hard to let that go. It still feels a little uncomfortable to let that go. It still feels a little awkward to admit fully that it is wrong. That picture they painted is wrong. It doesn't work like that. It works similar to like that. Again, if you're putting stuff into a story form for the sake of metaphor, then it's very similar. But we've been told, no, all of that's literal. It's all literal. The streets are literally gold. No, there's not streets in the way we think of streets. There's thoroughfares that are green, that have grass on them, and you walk barefooted on them. If you want to. You don't have to. You can wear sandals or shoe, whatever. You can do whatever you want. See, again, you can do what you want, but I'm just saying, it's not like that. But at the same time, we could say, well, if you were walking in heaven on streets of perfectly maintained grass that's softer than any grass you've ever stepped on earth, that would be just as good, if not better, than walking on streets of gold. Perhaps the pearls at the so-called gate are these spheres, are these chakras. And so it mimics it to a degree. But the overall completed picture they painted is wrong and false. Utterly. Utterly wrong and false. You're not going to get into what you think of as heaven based on what some other human did for you. You are sovereign. You have every opportunity that he had. In other words, nobody else has to do this for you. And nobody can do this for you. Nobody can create some magical loophole that just gives you access to the highest spheres in the spirit world. No, you become eligible for the spheres by what you do, by your actions, by your choices, by your service to others. There's no magic middleman that just magically gives you access. You're not ready for the highest spheres. You'd be there and you'd be lost. It would be utterly glorious to one that was eligible to be there. But for you, see, that could be hell to you if you ended up in, let us say, the 12th sphere and you're not ready for it. You would be uncomfortable there. You would be out of place there. You would feel so infinitesimally small there because you're not ready to be there. And I'll close with this, that when you pass from this corruptible world into the incorruptible world, you are spiritually exactly the same person that you are here. I would say the only thing that's going to be different is you're going to see everything very clearly through your third eye, whereas you may not be seeing everything clearly through your third eye here. But other than that, you're going to be exactly who and what you are right now. And that, my friends, will determine your eligibility. Love, unity, and light as always, my friends, until we meet again.